that one happened to be caught. But a quick inning from McCullers, probably the smoothest inning we've seen so far from a pitcher.
Definitely.
And yeah, I think it'll be very important for the Astros that he keeps cruising and gets deeper into this ball game without allowing any more runs.
Yeah, the Astros can't afford to dip into their bullpen this early. The Rays can, but the Astros cannot match that. They need. I'm sure they hope to get at least 2 more out of McCullers.
Yeah, but McCullers, he's got 4 strikeouts to this point and no walks. So he's looking pretty good in terms of controlling the zone. But the Rays have still been hitting him pretty hard. And I mean the one ball that left the park was one of the softer hit balls off of McCullers so far. But
yeah, they've stung
the
a
Rays
couple.
have hit 6 balls so far, 6 batted ball events over 100-mile-per-hour exit velocity. So yeah, I mean, I think 3 runs on the board ultimately still feels kind of appropriate.
I mean, if you looked at the stat lines, you might think you might feel as though the run total should be flipped, but so it goes. Instead, it's the Rays in the driver's seat with what it looks like Nick Anderson's on his way into this game here shortly.
Yeah, and I think that puts you in the driver's seat in about any game.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a guy that they.
I would tend to agree.
A guy they typically stretch out for more than an inning. I don't know that they have any incentive to stretch him out when he will be very important for the rest of the series. No, it doesn't look like it. Looks like he's hardly gone more than an inning ever in the major leagues.
Well, now might not be the time to
probably
test
not.
that.
19 appearances this year, 16 and a third innings pitched. So he's definitely more of a come in and clean up, or come in for a clean inning, get his clean inning, and take a seat for the game. If he wasn't the one that ended it.
Bow out gracefully.
Oh, nope. We got Charlie Morton again.
Holy shamoles, he's still out there. I'm actually surprised. I'm genuinely surprised.
Shocked by that too. Especially considering, I mean, he looked like he struggled with the zone a little bit last inning, and he's missed on 2 in a row to start this inning. Neither particularly close.
They might just send him out there to try and give someone else a little bit more time to get warmed up, try and save Nick Anderson for later on in this game.
Yeah, very possible. I mean, like we were saying, they want Anderson likely to pitch in their highest leverage situation, and if Morton hadn't been able to get out of the last inning, he probably would have. You probably want Anderson to come in and make sure you limit the damage there.
Oh, yeah. What a play!
Another fantastic
play
from Joey Wendell this time, and it looks like everyone on the Rays is going to get their chance to flash some good defense today. The shadows on field notably looking a little bit funky potentially to deal with.
A little bit, yeah. We could see some a little bit of a slowed down offense coming up kind of soon if these shadows keep creeping in the way that they are.
Close play at first, and G-Man Choi has had a couple of very nice stretches to get more
Very
base
nice
paths.
stretches. The big man really getting into these. Which I love to see as a former big man first baseman myself. I really appreciate throwing down a good stretch.
When I played first base, I don't think I could ever stretch like that.
I would put as much of myself into my stretches as I possibly could, and I definitely hurt myself in a very uncomfortable and way I'm not going to mention on this stream. But yeah, I definitely always appreciate seeing it. It's always really fun.
Oh, absolutely.
It's an art, the big man stretch.
Ooh. Zanino gets a nice frame to secure the.
Zanino's that's definitely not his first nice frame of this game so far. That was that earlier, the front door curveball strikeout that really looked like it finished outside of the zone, but Zanino framed it beautifully.
Which is interesting because we talk about Zanino's made some nice frames, and Martin Maldonado, who's behind the plate for the Astros today, is generally a pretty well-regarded framer, and neither of them rated very well in framing this season.
Zanino's maybe he didn't rate very well this season, but in past seasons he's rated pretty well in it. He's always been known as. I mean, there's a reason that Mike Zanino is starting championship series games despite only hitting a .192 in the regular season this year. He is a good defensive catcher. Sure. He works very well with his pitchers, and he is a good framer. He was, he worked with pretty poor Mariners rotations for years of his career, getting the best out of them he possibly could.
Yeah, and he I don't know if Baseball Prospectus will show me his framing metrics if I'm not subscribed to them. But yeah, and I think if anything that would likely speak more to small sample in this season than anything.
Yeah, I think he only started 28 games at catcher this year. Hang on, I can pull it up. He started. I can't possibly be right.
Yeah, and I mean the framing leaderboards are kind of all over the place compared to years past. I mean, in the top 5 you've got JT Realmuto and Yasmani Grandal still, who you expect to be there, but I mean,
yeah, those are poster childs for framing.
Omar Narvaez, not a guy who you typically think of as a top tier pitch framer.
Absolutely not.
Was apparently, according to Baseball Savant, was fairly clearly the best framer in baseball, at least on the outside corners of the plate. But I mean, there's some guys that certainly apparently have worked on their framing, but it's hard to believe the year-over-year increases of guys like James McCann, who was just an awful framer in 2019 and rated positively this year. Same with Wilson Contreras. He apparently worked on his framing, but he went from being one of the worst framing catchers to being a plus value framer. So yeah, it's hard to really know for sure that these metrics are truly speaking to true talent.
I mean, in a lot of, for a great deal of reasons, I think we're all excited. I mean, I know there's postseason baseball on right now, but for a myriad of reasons, I think we're all excited for 2021 and hopefully a full slate of 162 baseball games next year. But definitely just having evened out regular year-to-year statistics again is going to be good for a lot of reasons, because it is so hard to look at something and decide whether or not it's to read it and think for sure whether or not it's legit.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm trying to come up with, like, if I had to pick one narrative from this season that I would want to see replicated over a full 162 next year, or that I think is most likely to be replicated over a full 162. I'm trying to come up with that. I certainly want to see, for the first time since coming to the Cubs, I want to see a full season of good, successful Yu Darvish. I think that's definitely up there for me.
I love watching Yu Darvish pitch too, so I could definitely get behind that. I think the thing I would personally like to see the most next season is another season of Kyle Lewis BABIP 430 plus. I think that would be awesome. I think that would upset Christian greatly, and as much as I would love to see Kyle Lewis BABIP over 430 again, just because that would mean that he was hitting really well, it would also just upset Christian, and that's big things for me. That's a big W for me.
Yeah. So I don't know if anyone in chat has anything notable over 60 games that may or may not be replicated. Diego says, can't wait for Mariners to be good for the first 3 weeks.
I know I just did another Mariners one, but I will say my other one too is I think Justice Sheffield had an excellent rookie season this year. Quietly, like, I think he should be getting Rookie of the Year votes. I think Kyle Lewis should win, and I think Luis Robert was second. But I could absolutely, maybe I'm biased, but I don't necessarily think I am. But I think Justice Sheffield is probably third or fourth in AL Rookie of the Year voting this year, and I'm really, really looking forward to hopefully 25 to 30 starts of him next year.
I can tell you that there's one thing I am absolutely hoping was just a short season. I can't come up with the word, but just a short season. Yeah, fluke.
A fluke.
And that was whatever the Cubs tried to call an offense this year.
Yeah, it was very interesting tuning into the War League standings this year, because I was normally the one updating them, like, kind of weekly. I would go through and make sure everything was up to date, and it was always really interesting going and checking on Javier Baez's and having it be negative for pretty much the entire season.
Yeah, and his defense, it was still good, which was the only thing that kept him relatively in replacement level ish territory.
Yeah, because he just could not hit.
I mean,
Diego says he wants to see Yaz be top 10 WAR again next year.
That'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool.
I will not say that I will ever get behind the Giants as a team, but I think it would be cool for Yaz to be good again.
And the other kind of standout maybe product of a shortened season had a really, really good year this year on the Giants was Donovan Solano too. I'd be interested to see if that has staying power.
Yeah, no, the one I think for me, if I had to come up with one on the Royals and his career to this point has showed us that apparently we still won't know after, at the end of his career, we might still be wondering what the heck kind of player Adalberto Mondesi is. But
yeah, there's still some big question marks there. Are you good or are you not? Please feel free to check one of the boxes and stick to that.
Cold, I don't. So I have no idea what he's gonna be like even after a full next season.
Well, and then there's another AL Central outfielder who kind of is a question mark too. Are you real or are you not? In Byron Buxton.
Absolutely. Like, I think he had more home runs than walks this year for sure. Which is kind of ridiculous.
It is. That's definitely a small sample size stat, though.
But that's also like that's not out of the question for him over the course of his career, I think.
Yeah. Maybe it's not entirely on the small sample size. I mean, it's one of the that's one of those very strange combinations of players. I mean, I think 2019 D. Gordon almost got close to doing that too, because he only walked 9 times that season and hit like 6-7 home runs.
Shoot, Mondesi could do it himself too. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know that many people realized that the Royals were 12-6 in their last 18 games. I don't think that means they'll be good. Definitely not contenders next year, but yeah, I mean, Salvador Perez also had a very kind of unexpectedly great, whatever you want to call it, offensive season. He missed the middle part of the season, but he had one of the better. He was one of the better offensive catchers this year, and Mondesi was on a tear at the end of the year. I don't know. I mean, if they can do anything like that over a full season, that certainly changes the outlook on the Royals, who currently look like they won't have the offense to turn the corner potentially when they look to do so.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking about other things notable this season, but I was just reminded, I was kind of looking down at my phone and I looked at my shirt and I just remembered one of the things I'll never forgive this season for, which is taking away Felix Hernandez debuting with the Braves. Because I got my Long Live the King shirt on. But yeah, as much as I miss him, I was actually looking forward to watching him get to pitch for a team that has every possibility of going to the World Series this year, and it would, as cool as it would be if the Braves, did move on and win the World Series this year, I would be extremely bummed out that Felix wouldn't get a ring for it.
He definitely, as much as anyone in baseball, he deserves a ring out of his career.
God, does he ever?
He deserves a
does he ever
out of his career.
Just the absolute travesty that the Mariners, as close as they got in 2014, that they couldn't get him into at least a wild card game, because he would have just murdered a lineup in a wild card game.
I wasn't totally paying attention to the standings that year, but I'm assuming they were right on the tail of the Royals.
They were trying to run down the A's, and it was game 162, and Felix was on the mound facing the Angels. Yeah, and the final score of the A's game came across, and all the A's had to do was win, and they did. And I actually, if you're watching this, you're probably familiar with SB Nation and their Mariners documentary, but in the final part they talk about the fact that Felix Hernandez's start that day in game 162 of 2014 is the best start of only 5 innings ever recorded. Because as soon as they were eliminated, he just got pulled.
So I'm looking at the standings from that year, and I, for one, am surprised to see that A's team had the single best run differential in baseball that year.
I think
plus.
Yeah, that A's team was sneaky good. They
Plus
put up a lot of runs.
157 was their run differential that year. Their record was 88-74. Their expected record based on that run differential was 99-63.
Yikes.
Which, yeah, yikes is one word for it.
I would say that earns a yikes.
And they went to the wild card game and lost to a Royals team that had an expected record of 84-78.
That was 2014, wasn't that the Royals' year?
They made the World Series and lost to the Giants, but they
lost to the Giants because it was an even year.
They did not lose a holy smokes. Did Correa ever connect on that one?
Oh dear. Yeah, I would say he put a little bit of boom sauce on that one.
There you go.
Yeah, that was boom sauced a bit. That was a solid boom saucing.
Let's wait for the exit velocity on that one. So the Astros are on the board, off of Peter Fairbanks.
Who?
The pitcher that just allowed that home run, Peter Fairbanks.
Who?
Which I don't know if some of you might have seen on Twitter. There was a tweet that got some attention that was like, your Rays bullpen name is, I think, the name of your oldest cousin plus the northernmost city you've ever visited. I'm thinking that one. Now that I see that Peter Fairbanks exists, I'm guessing that was the inspiration for that tweet.
What was yours, by the way?
Let's see. I think Carter Vancouver.
Mine is Joseph Anchorage.
I'm trying to think if I've been further north. I don't think so. I think Carter Vancouver is my Rays bullpen name. I don't know if anyone in the chat has a good Rays bullpen name.
Yeah, let's hear your Rays bullpen names, chat. Scott's asking, who is y'all's favorite player on your team's worst team in your lifetime? So like your team's worst year that you've been alive for, who was the favorite player from that team? Is that what you're asking?
So I'm thinking like 2011, 2012 Cubs. I'm trying to remember who I loved on that team. The Cubs briefly had Marlon Byrd. For no reason, I loved Marlon Byrd as a Cub.
Let's see. The Mariners' worst year I've been alive for was 2004. Realistically, that was the year of Ichiro. That was his 262 year. Yeah, it was definitely 2003 for you. I think mine was 2004. Oh shoot! Was John Olerud still on that team in 2004? I don't think so. I think he left. Well, no, shoot. Now I'm looking up Mariners 2004 roster just to make sure that like Willie Bloomquist wasn't on that team, and I just don't remember. Raul Ibanez was on that team, though. That's a contender. I gotta
come up with the Royals. It has to be like 2006, somewhere in the mid 2000s. I don't know. I didn't follow the Royals too much until like 2013. Let me see.
I will say, there's a lot to pick from the Mariners 2004, because that team was terrible. Oh my God, that team was so bad. I think they won. Did they win 60 games? They went 63-99.
Okay. I think we can pretty comfortably say that for the Royals, it's 2005. 56 and 106. I think that's got to be it. I don't think they've had a season quite that bad since 2015. So let's see. Now it's time to play who the hell was on the 2005 Royals.
Yeah, it's either 2004 or 2010. They went 61 and 101. That might be their worst one because that season was an absolute disaster. That season was a disaster for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, so out of the top 12 players by Baseball Reference WAR on the 2005 Royals, I'm familiar with like 3 of them.
Well, because I was looking at the list of players from the 2004 Mariners team, and I was struggling to pick which one was my favorite because that team still has some of the legends on there. Like Jamie Moyer is still on that team, Dan Wilson, Brett Boone, Willie Bloomquist, John Olerud, Ichiro, Edgar is still on. That was his retirement year. But I was like, how the hell am I supposed to pick from one of those guys? Also, that was the year of Bucky Jacobson. That was Jose Lopez's first year on the team. Gil Mesh was on that team. Who remembers Gil Mesh's name? Raise your hand.
That's a good one. Gil Mesh is a good one. Yeah, no, the downfall of that Royals team in 2005 was without a doubt the pitching staff. The 5 pitchers that Baseball Reference has listed as the team's starting rotation that year. Okay, let's see. So they had 5 guys that threw at least 100 innings. The lowest ERA of that bunch was a 4.46.
Oh my god.
Zach Greinke threw 183 innings that year with a 5.8 ERA.
That was 2000. This is 2005.
2005. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say Greinke is my favorite guy from that team because he's literally the only one I know.
Was that his rookie year?
Yeah,
because I think Greinke and Felix debuted in the same season.
No.
Because Felix also
Greinke's
debuted in 05.
I think 05 was the year that he stepped away from the game for mental health reasons.
That's right. I'm looking at this 2010 team right now.
Win-loss record in 2005, 5-17.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Bad.
I believe that is what you would call bad.
So I was looking at that 2004 squad and I listed all the guys on there. If I had to pick one from that 2004 team, like if you really need me to pick one, Scott, because you're right, that is a squad. I think I'd have to pick Edgar. But that's just a really, really tough call. But I will say, looking at this 2010 team, like there's still Felix on there. That was the year of Cliff Lee. And Ichiro was still on that team, and Ken Griffey Jr. was on that team for like less than 2 months. But I might have to say Franklin Gutierrez on that 2010 team.
Okay, so I think Marlon Byrd is a decent a good one, but he was not on the 2012 Cubs, which was their worst year. By the way, best player by Baseball Reference wins above replacement on the 2012 Cubs was Darwin Barney.
Oh my god. That's not who I was expecting you to say. I don't know who I was expecting you to say, but it wasn't that.
Let's see. The link between the 2005 Royals and the 2012 Cubs, David DeJesus was on both teams. gotta feel for the guy a little bit.
Royals legend David DeJesus.
Let's see. Matt Garza, who was one of the worst trades in Cubs history, was on that 2012 team.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's got to be Giovanni Soto. I loved Giovanni Soto. Oh, no, Marlon Byrd did play for the Cubs in 2012. Okay, both of them. Marlon Byrd and Giovanni Soto. They come as a package deal. There's my answer for you.
As you were talking, I kept looking through this 2010 Mariners team. Like, I kind of went through it just to make sure Gutierrez was on there. But there's so many other names on this team that I loved. And I'll get out of the way two names on this team that I didn't love at all. Milton Bradley and Eric Burns. Get the hell off this list. But there's other guys on here that I just absolutely loved. Like Michael Saunders, the Condor, was on that team. Matt Tuiasosopo, that was the year that Rick Riz went sicko mode and soothsayered that entire home run.
That's funny. Scott,
let's see.
So Bryant was taken in the 2013 draft, so that 2012 Cubs team was the team that got Chris Bryant, and 2012 was the year that Theo took over the Cubs also. Yeah. There are so many names on that 2012 Cubs team. Ryan Dempster, Starlin Castro, Rizzo was on the Cubs, Jeff Samardzija, Alfonso Soriano, Matt Garza. I mean, yeah, that was quite a team they had.
That 2010 Mariners was also Felix Hernandez's Cy Young year. And Rob Johnson was his personal catcher that year. So shout out to Rob Johnson for managing to field all of those 91-mile-an-hour sinkers in the dirt.
Oh, wow. Kerry Wood pitched 8 2/3 innings for the 2012 Cubs. I don't think I realized that at the time.
What a weird stat.
He had an 8.31 ERA.
Good Lord.
That was 35-year-old Gary Wood.
So there's another 61 and 101 Mariners season in 2008. And I'm going to look at that list real fast because now I'm curious. Although I don't think the teams are that different.
So Diego says most disliked player on my favorite team or our favorite teams in our lifetime.
Probably Milton Bradley.
Well, so if you're asking about the 2016 Cubs, that is undoubtedly Addison Russell.
Eric Bedard. Eric Bedard is going to be on my list as well. It's not even that I dislike the player. I just hated that he was on that team. Oh, yeah. No, of course. Yeah, Scott just found the correct answer. I don't know how. Yeah, it's Sean Figgins. It's not even close. It's hilarious that I forgot about Sean Figgins. But here's what happened with Sean Figgins. I took all my hate for him and I balled it up as small as I could get, which is about the size of a watermelon, and I put it right here and forgot about it.
Well, there you go.
And eventually, one day, I'll die.
Let's see.
Expletive you, Sean Figgins, for being a Mariner.
Let's see. Okay, so 2016 Cubs, my least favorite. That's a good question. Because I'm saying that I'm not going to settle for the obvious answer, whose name I will no longer mention because he doesn't deserve it.
clip that and then one day I'll die for me. Post it on Twitter with no context.
I'm trying to remember. I didn't love Aroldis Chapman either, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I guess I was never the biggest John Lackey fan. If I had to pick one, couldn't really tell you why.
I mean, it sounds like we already know what the actual answer is, and we just won't say
Yeah.
the name out loud.
And then, let's see, 2014, 2015 Royals. Someone I didn't like off of those teams. Omar
also,
Infante. Omar
honorable.
Infante is the answer.
Yeah, I buy that.
I cannot believe we almost got him into an All-Star game.
I'll throw honorable mentions as well for my list at Carlos Silva.
Okay.
Because he was so bad as a Mariner. He was so bad.
Yeah, Omar Infante in 455 plate appearances slugged .318 and took 9 walks.
Yikes. Scott is furious with this Omar Infante slander, by the way.
Nope. Omar out Fonte.
Hunter Strickland wasn't ever really on the Mariners per se. Like, he was on the roster, but did he play?
Tigers. Omar Infante was not the Royals' whole 2015 team. Tigers Omar Infante may not deserve slander, but Royals Omar Infante deserves endless slander. Or maybe... Oh, Ian Kennedy wasn't on the team yet. That's right.
See, this is where you and I diverge, Ryan, on how we treat our least favorite players, because Sean Figgins' career on the Mariners means that his entire career is... how do I put this nicely? Terrible.
Yeah, I mean...
Terrible, god-awful, no good, very bad.
I don't remember Omar Infante ever being good.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, Mac Williamson made it to the roster. He homered in his first at-bat as a Mariner. It was awesome. And then he played like 13 more games and got demoted.
Goodness, Joe Blanton pitched for the 2015 Royals?
I know. I was looking through the 2008 roster, and R.A. Dickey was on that team. I don't remember that at all.
Let's see, 2014. Is there anyone on 2014?
I thought I had my obscure Mariners pretty well nailed down, but I guess not. Peter Fairbanks just blew 98 up over the zone.
I did not love Billy Butler. I was never a Billy Butler fan.
Really? That's interesting. I'm surprised to hear a Royals fan come down on the Billius Butler.
I didn't hate Billy Butler. I just,
I didn't say you did. I'm just you are coming down on him though. I'm surprised. I'm a little bit surprised.
I don't know. I mean, like,
I'm just a little surprised is all.
I'm indifferent towards so many of these players, and like he sticks out as a guy that I like definitely remember and definitely did not love.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, kind of Brandon Morrow was on that list for me too, as guys that I remember, but I don't remember ever liking all that much. I remember liking them actually more after they left the Mariners, but I always kind of thought about that as just like I got older and was just like, oh, this Brandon Morrow guy is actually kind of cool, and he just kind of had some arm problems, and that's all.
Yeah.
But at the time, I remember being like, this guy stinks. Fairbanks is just making everybody look foolish right now.
After that Correa homer, he's been shoving. Oh, here's one for you. Justin Wilson, 2017 Cubs.
That's a name.
Not a fan.
Fair enough.
I know, Scott. I'm just slandering. Scott hasn't said anything yet, but I'm just slandering former Tigers that ended up playing for the teams I liked. Yeah. Hey, Alex Avila was fine.
Austin Jackson was fine for us, Scott, if that makes you feel any better. I liked him. He was a cool guy.
I'm honestly not losing sleep over Candelario especially. And Paredes was not quite what he now is as a prospect when the Cubs dealt him. I mean, considering it took so long for Candelario to develop at a major league level, that wouldn't have really played for the Cubs trying to contend over the last several years.
Sorry, I got the most ridiculous push notification from ESPN, and I had to tweet about it. Apparently, the Arthur Blank, the Falcons owner, is, quote, not sold on Matt Ryan as the quarterback of the future. And I just read that, and in my head I was just like, like how do you look at that team and think he's the problem? My good God.
No.
Can the owner fire him? They just fired Dan Quinn and the head coach, and they fired the general manager yesterday. Can the owner fire himself for that take?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no.
Sorry, we got off on a bit of a football tangent there. I didn't mean to do that, but I just saw that and I had to comment on it.
Yeah, well, Scott, the Cubs thought we had first and third locked forever. Now,
Future all-team QB.
I will say I would have. Well, I don't know. I mean, if we're talking more recent Cubs, like 2018 to recent Cubs, I've never been a David Bodie fan. Oh, there's the cap. This is the good content we're here for.
It's our good Christian stream content.
Which is funny because I'm normally a fan of, like, just because if a guy wears number 13, normally I'm a fan of him just for wearing number 13. And David Bodie wears 13 on one of my favorite teams, and I don't love him.
You're just a big fan of lucky number 13?
Yeah, Salvador Perez was my favorite player from the 14-15 Royals. So I wore 13 when I played baseball, and when I played water polo in high school, I wore 13.
I wore 19 in baseball. Don't know why.
It's a good number.
It's a prime number. That's kind of cool.
I'm trying to think of guys that wear 19. I can't think of a major leaguer that wears 19.
Me neither. I guess I've never really gone and looked, but now I'm about to. and they're about to be my new favorite player.
Because I know 13 you've got.
Show me who the heck is Jim
David
Gilliam. Oh, those are retired 19s. Well, Tony Gwynn and Robin Yount wore 19.
Joey Gallo wears 13. I know. I like Joey Gallo just because he wears 13. Also because he's Joey Gallo. But let's see.
Oh, Joey Votto wears 19.
Really? I wouldn't have been able to tell you that.
Yeah, I remember that. I'll allow that. Joey Votto's already one of my favorite players, and not just because he's Canadian.
Year 2020, uniform number 19. Charlie Blackmon wears 19.
I can't take that away from Brian.
So the full list of guys that wore jersey number 19 this year: Charlie Blackmon, Jackie Bradley Jr., Jose Briseno, Franchi Cordero, Chris Davis, Tommy Edman, Shane Green, Colin Moran, Isaac Paredes, Miguel Rojas, Anibal Sanchez, Masahiro Tanaka, Josh Van Meter, and Votto.
All right, well, I'll comment on a couple of those. Charlie Blackmon's cool, but I can't take Brian's favorite player away from him. I already like Joey Votto. I refuse to have Jackie Bradley Jr. be my favorite because I refuse to have a Boston Red Sox be my favorite anything. Tanaka's cool, in spite of the fact that I also pathologically refuse to allow a New York Yankee to be my favorite anything.
Scott says half of those are former or current Tigers. Let's see, number 13. Oh, whoa, way more guys wear 13 than I thought. Yeah, Ke'Bryan Hayes wore 13. I liked him because he wears 13. Same with Machado, wears 13. I think 13 historically is an underworn number, but I think recently it's picking up. Oh, Acuna wears 13. How could I forget him?
That's a good one. That's a nice representative.
Margot, as we've seen today, Max Muncy wears 13. Oh, Matt Carpenter. It's unfortunate.
Ooh. You can just kind of ignore that one if you want. I'll allow it. I'll forget I heard it.
Someone's probably already done some sort of look into the most valuable uniform numbers in baseball. I'd be interested to know
that. Well, what number did Barry Bonds wear? Because that's probably a pretty solid front runner. What number did Barry Bonds wear? Well, great. Now I'm looking up Barry Bonds' baseball reference page for the fourth time this week.
27's got to be a valuable number. 27, you've got Bauer, Giolito, Aaron Nola, Stanton, Trevor Story, Mike Trout, all wear 27.
That's pretty good. That's good company.
I feel like you got a tough time beating that.
Yeah, that's you'll struggle for sure.
Not to mention,
not impossible, but good luck finding it.
Adalberto Mondesi wears 27 also. Austin Riley, who certainly could become a stud. Altuve wears 27.
Not the best
No,
example
but,
this year.
certainly possible.
Oh, did Zanino just get into one? Zanino, Mike Zanino, Mike Zanino,
Some more boom sauce.
Mike Zanino. Former Mariners are doing it. Let's go.
Yeah, so there you go. We've got 5 runs
down.
today, all on the home run. You know, this is a nice font that we use, but the number 4 in this font, I don't understand why it is the way that it is. It's so fat.
It is I like the font too. The 4 is real thick, and the 7 is awfully extra.
It's pretty extra. Scott says uniform number 25. Oh, that's what Bonds wore. Okay, gotcha.
What Bonds wore.
Uniform number 25 now. Byron Buxton is your most valuable number 25 in baseball this year. Second most valuable number 25 is Dylan Moore.
Hey, I don't want to hear Dylan Moore slander in this HotMic. I will.
That was not Dylan Moore slander. He had a fine year.
I know. I'm getting out in front of it right now. I don't want to hear it.
Dylan Moore slander.
No Dylan Moore slander in the chat, or you're banned.
Do we have that power?
No, but I will. I'll do something. Don't know what it is, but I'll do it. Okay, well now I'm seeing Sean Figgins praise, so that's worse than Dylan Moore slander. Scott, you better tread lightly there, friend. I'm policing the chat.
The page I'm on searches year by year for uniform numbers. Uniform number 9, pretty mediocre this year. Javier Baez is one of the more notable number 9s in baseball, and he certainly didn't carry his weight.
No.
Brandon Belt was your most valuable number 9 this season.
Yikes. Pretty mediocre year for 9. Which is a shame considering how important the number 9 is to baseball.
Yeah. I don't know what jersey number Shane Bieber wears.
Does he wear 37 or
Not
27?
Oh, whoops. I just totally... That's not what I meant to do.
57.
57. Oh, that's got to be more. That's a pitcher's number for sure.
That's a reliever's number.
No, it is a reliever's number, and so many of them were like pretty much replacement level relievers. The best non Shane Bieber number 57 was JB Wendelken.
Yee.
Who was good. But yeah.
Yeah, we probably would do well not to slander JB Wendelken in this, or Callie will sense a disturbance in the force.
She can already sense that we're talking about it.
So I would say at this point, Mike Zanino is probably favorite to win ALCS MVP.
Front runner.
Yep, definitely the front runner.
New Rays pitcher now is Aaron Loop. Aaron Loop.
Who?
L-O-U-P.
Who?
Loop.
I don't know who
heard
that
of
is.
him either.
You know who I have heard of? That guy, Mike Zanino.
Aaron
I've heard
Loop's
of him.
Major League debut was in 2012. Oh,
really?
That's why he pitched for the Blue Jays most of his career.
Oh, that's why nobody's heard of him.
Yeah, he's
111.1 off the bat of Mike Zanino.
The most average reliever in that Rays bullpen. He is like remarkably average.
Well, they only need him to hold down one inning with a 3-run lead. Probably good to kind of hand this inning off to this guy and save the innings for somebody else to try and.
Oh my gosh! Another
play by Joey Wendell. Oh my goodness, G-Man Choi, you need to stop it. You're doing things to me.
When you got defense like that out there, it may not matter who you're running out as long as they can put the ball in the strike zone.
With teammates like these, who needs friends? Good Lord.
Ooh, just barely stayed on the bag.
Yeah, really solid toe awareness there.
Elite toe awareness. These are the things that analytics can't measure.
Choi over Evan White. I'll concede the. Pardon me. I'll concede the argument today. Although Evan White is taller than G-Man Choi, so he makes that play without falling off the bag probably pretty easily.
I don't know. We might.
But we don't have to talk about that right now. This is a G-Man Choi stan account.
G-Man Choi for ALCS MVP?
I'm still kind of on the Mike Zanino train right now. Look at him. Look at his powder blue. Yeah, I mean, he gets MVP just for the powder blue catcher's gear. Come on, let's be realistic here.
Yeah,
there's a base hit. Tucker is a very good hitter, so it is kind of it's hard to keep him off the bases for an entire game. Anderson's back up and Robbie Thompson
pitched in the wild card series against the Blue Jays, but that has to be one of the least notable facing your former teams ever.
It's the announcers would have been like, yeah, former Blue Jay Aaron Loop is coming in, and even some of the Blue Jays would have been like, that guy was on the team? When? I don't recall this.
It's funny because the Blue Jays were legitimately very good in like 2014, 2015, and I could not name you a single reliever that was on those teams except now Aaron Loop. And Ryan Tepera because he pitched for the Cubs this year. And I remember remarking when the Cubs got Ryan Tepera, who the hell is Ryan Tepera? And then remarking, I don't know anyone else from that Blue Jays bullpen.
And there you have it. Just a bunch of who? Was Brandon Morrow on that Blue Jays team? We're bringing up Brandon Morrow again in this chat.
He was. He was on the 2014
He
Blue Jays.
was.
Wow. Man. Are they making a
Pitched in
pitching
13
change?
games. Yeah.
Okay, well let's see who actually was on 2015 Blue Jays. Who were there? Who was in their bullpen?
On the 2014 Blue Jays. Who else was in there?
2014, 2015, yeah.
Well, I already had my one significant pull in Brandon Morrow. I don't know who else I got left in me.
Well, there's one that if you think about it is like does make sense. I just wouldn't have I don't know that it would have come to mind.
Fernando Rodney wasn't on that team. Because he was on the. Was he still on the Rays at that point? I don't know if I can remember anyone else.
Well, their closer, I'm surprised I didn't remember, was Roberto Osuna.
Oh wow, yeah. I'm surprised I didn't remember that too. I forgot he came from there.
Another came from the Blue Jays, now on the Astros, is Aaron Sanchez, who was less notable with the Blue Jays, but was very, very good in 2016 especially. Had a great year. Has had a kind of strange career. Liam Hendricks was in the 2015 Toronto Blue Jays bullpen.
Really? That bullpen was a bunch of no names. Now look at it.
Yeah. He was also in the 2014 Royals bullpen.
Huh. Well, he really bounces around the small markets, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was with the Twins. I mean, he came up with the Twins. Oh, Aaron Sanchez is a free agent. Yeah, Scott got Osuna.
Just in the nick of time,
Cubs
too.
legend. Yep.
Get a nick of time.
I'm not
That's my name.
Personally gonna consider Brandon Morrow a Cubs legend.
I don't know if I consider Brandon Morrow an anyone legend.
I mean, if you in like end of 2016, well, I don't know if Brandon Morrow was really that good, but I mean, end of 2015, say, you tell me that in the next 5 years, the Cubs are going to have one season of Wade Davis as the closer, plus they're going to get Craig Kimbrell on a 3-year deal. Like, I would have gone insane.
Yeah, I believe it.
Plus, if you take
Thompson manages to get out with no damage.
How good Morrow was when they signed him. I mean, he was very good for the Dodgers. And also 2018 Jeremy Jeffress was really good. I don't know,
man.
We're going to take a quick break in this half-inning break, and we will be back with you with 2 more innings left to go in this game. We'll see if Houston has any life left in them to try and tie the series up. right, so we're back as we wait for this game to head to the top of the 8th. Daniel Norris and Matt Boyd were both on that Blue Jays team and got moved for Price at the deadline. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I remember that David Price trade being huge.
Yeah, that was big. Big old deal. Didn't really work out the way they planned it.
He just had like one rough game, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he was good in 2015. For sure, finished the year with a 2.45 ERA. Let's see.
So this just got reported in by the Wall Street Journal. But Oakland A's executive Billy Beane is expected to leave his role with the team to become part of John Henry's billionaire sports empire. So Billy Beane has finally been pulled out of Oakland to Boston.
That was kind of the ending.
18 years later.
Right? He had the offer to be the Red Sox GM.
18 years later, they finally got them. Finally got him.
So that was formerly the longest tenured GM in baseball.
Yeah.
I don't know
and
if
no longer
that title now.
I have no idea. I really don't.
It could very, very possibly be Dayton Moore. He's been around for a long time. I don't know if Google will help me out. List of Major League Baseball general managers. Oh, here we go. Yeah, date of hire. Has Brian Cashman actually been the wait. Brian Cashman's been the Yankees GM since 1998?
That can't possibly be true.
Peyton, can we get a confirmation on that?
Yeah, Peyton, help.
Because if it's not Brian Cashman, I was almost correct.
That's true?
Wow. Okay,
Holy
so it's Brian Cashman. I was almost correct with Dayton Moore. Dayton Moore is the third longest tenured GM in baseball. Points to you if you can guess which team, at least, has the second longest tenured GM.
Well, so it's Brian Cashman is 1. Dayton Moore is 3.
I suspected that this team has had their GM for a while.
How long was Dayton Moore?
On June 8th of 2006. If anyone in chat wants to guess who this GM is, or at least what team he's with,
I don't think it's right, but is it the Indians?
Mike Chernoff was hired in 2015 with the Indians.
definitely not the Indians.
And yeah, so we can even run down the top 5 as trivia of the 5 longest tenured GMs in baseball. So we have Brian Cashman with the Yankees, who has been there since 1998, and he's the longest tenured, and the 3rd longest tenured is Dayton Moore with the Royals. So props if you can guess 2, 4, and 5.
Is the Rays one of them?
The Rays, you said? Nope.
Yeah.
Andrew Friedman
Really?
was formerly the GM, and he left for the Dodgers in 2016.
That's right.
All right, so we are now through the 8th inning, headed to the 9th, and we've got the man who he's seen a couple times now today. Nick Anderson's going to come and try and close this out to give the Rays a 2-0 series lead. Excuse me.
He's very warm at this point.
We've got no guesses in chat. Nobody is interested in taking a crack at this one.
I don't know. I don't even know. I feel like at this point I'm going to do a 3rd guess and it's going to be wrong and it's just going to be embarrassing.
I mean, I don't know that it's necessarily expected that you know about baseball GMs.
I'll throw out one more guess and then I'm done guessing because I can't take the embarrassment. But is the Dodgers one of them?
I think the Dodgers technically don't have a general manager right now.
Really?
I'm pretty sure Andrew Friedman has some other title and they don't technically have a GM. Let's see if anyone in banter can get it, because nobody in stream chat wants to guess.
Scott just put in Rangers GM.
Scott is right. Rangers is the 2nd longest tenured. John Daniels, hired in October of 2005. So there's your top 3: is Cashman with the Yankees, John Daniels with the Rangers, and Dayton Moore with the Royals. 4 and 5 may be more difficult to guess, I would think. The 4th longest tenured GM was hired in 2009, and the 5th longest tenured GM was hired in 2011. Yeah, we're seeing there are
I'm
fans
seeing
currently
that.
in Texas for batting practice are just not social distanced. So okay.
It's almost like bringing fans into a bubble inherently makes it not a bubble.
All right, so we had both of the correct answers were guessed in banter. So if we go this 9th inning without correct answers from chat, I guess pretty much everyone in chat can see banter. So, oh, G-Man finally fails to make the out on a stretch.
It had to happen eventually.
Nobody can be perfect. So maybe the Rays' first error of the day? Maybe a throwing error on Wendell?
What's
Results.
that was a pretty short hop too.
Tough play. But the Astros have a base runner on now and no outs. Oh, wow. So two batted balls to the left side, and the Astros suddenly have first and second with nobody on very quickly in the top of the ninth. So now
it's getting spicy.
They bring the tying run to the plate.
Hang on, I gotta let my cat out of my office or she's gonna freak out. Sorry.
Base runner, Gurriel, looks like that is considered a single, not an error. And it was a tough play.
It was a tough play, and it was pretty. Even if Choi comes up with that ball, it was a pretty bang play.
All right, so it's looking like we might. Yes, so there you go, Scott. Mike Rizzo is the fourth longest tenured GM. Was hired in October of 2009 with the Washington Nationals, and I will go ahead and say it so we can focus on this game a little more. The fifth longest tenured GM, to my surprise, even, is Jed Hoyer with the Chicago Cubs. Which, it has been a while now since Hoyer and Theo Epstein were brought in.
It is surprising. It feels like it was just the other day that Epstein left.
It certainly speaks to, I think, the turnover everywhere else in general managers. Among teams that have general managers currently, 10 of the 30 GMs in baseball have been hired since 2017. And
really?
The Angels currently have a vacancy, as do the Phillies, so that number will be up to 12 fairly soon, once they make general manager hirings. And I'm assuming the Dodgers' role will remain vacant. The funny thing is, I think a lot of people talk about how well run the Rays are. I don't know if anyone could actually name the Rays GM.
I can't.
Yeah, Scott, the Cardinals had AJ Hinch before he left for, I don't know if he was their GM, but he left for Houston from the Cardinals. But the Cardinals hired Mike Gersh as their GM in 2017.
All right. Well, Anderson's got the bases loaded now with nobody out.
In a turn of events, perhaps. Anderson, as we mentioned, one of baseball's best relievers at getting strikeouts, especially, which is very, very important, and has allowed 3 consecutive singles to load the bases. So suddenly we're looking at a pretty close game potentially, although very quickly after that, George Springer makes things look a little bit worse for the Astros, even as they played a run to come within 2.
Very quick double play there.
That is tough. So
just what they
the Astros
needed.
Still will bring up the tying run, but that is absolutely a sigh of relief for the Rays. And even as a defensive, I don't know if you can really call it a defensive mishap, but even as that kind of opened the door for this inning, the Rays have put together great defense. Another good play as part of their defense that's just been very shut down all day.
Well, and just perfectly shifted too. It was right into it.
So Astros are down to their final out. Oh, was I talking about AJ Hinch? I actually meant to be talking about Jeff Luhnow, but I didn't realize that Hinch was groomed to be a general manager instead of a manager. But yeah, I mean, they were able to help kind of combine to put together a very good Astros team. Anderson's still not really hitting the strike zone. He's gotten to 3-0 on Altuve here.
Just trying to stay away.
An awfully close check swing, but he did hold up on that. Man, I still can't believe Brian Cashman has been the Yankees GM since 1998.
Yeah, that's pretty shocking. It really is. That's
middle of their consecutive three in a row championships.
Yeah. When did Steinbrenner kind of be less involved in the control of that team? Because it's got to correlate.
Likely, yeah. Oh, you know what, Scott? Scott mentioned that the Cardinals likely. It feels like the Cardinals hasn't changed for a long time, and John Mozeliak was technically their old GM, and now he's their president of baseball operations, and he was their GM. He became the GM in 2007, and he still is currently the president of baseball operations. So technically, he's still kind of the guy in charge there, and has been for a long time. But with the official title of GM, doesn't count technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Anderson just cannot hit the strike zone.
He must have warmed up too much.
I was gonna say I thought that Mozeliak was still in St. Louis. But yeah, no, it's interesting. Because a lot of these GMs aren't the guy you think of when you think of who's calling the shots for their teams. I mean, the general manager of the Red Sox is Brian O'Halloran, but actually their chief baseball officer is Chaim Bloom, who a lot of people think of when they think of who's, in charge in Boston. Same thing with Jed Hoyer with the Cubs. Theo Epstein is technically the president of baseball operations there. man.
Another walk.
How long is Anderson's leash here?
You have to start to wonder.
I mean, has he had a swing and miss this whole inning yet?
I don't think so. I don't think anybody's up, so
Yeah, so they're going with Nick Anderson. They have faith in him to get out of this.
for better or for worse, it's the Nick Anderson
with
show.
Alex Bregman at the plate, who is a tough out, even as he did not have his best year this season.
They managed to track it down. Ooh, that was a little tense there, but they got it done.
Out in center field for that one.
Yeah, ran that down real fast, made it look easy. But that is the Rays going up 2-0 on this series. Whew. Got a little stressy there at the end. Not quite Sunday Night Football last night stressy, but that got a little stressy there at the end.
Oh, I never gave Houston a second run on the scoreboard.
It doesn't matter. They lost.
Yeah. So that is it for this game, and the Rays take a 2-0 lead, which is will be tough for the Astros to overcome.
Yeah, and the Rays kind of managed to do it without really diving too deep into their bullpen for this one. I mean, Nick Anderson labored to get through this inning, but defense was huge for the Rays in this game, as they're going through in the broadcast right now, actually, just a massive defensive game. And a defensive miscue did kind of get that top of the ninth started, but just a really good all-around baseball game from the Rays there. All 3 runs in the first inning, or their first 3 runs in the first, and then Mike Zanino with insurance.
Yeah, and you kind of wonder, in a normal series, you've got this kind of shifting of ballparks and days off in a typical 7-game postseason series.
Yeah, tomorrow would be a travel day.
We're going to be here in San Diego for the duration of this series, and there are no days off in this series. So you wonder how much more difficult that potentially makes it for the Astros to mount a comeback in this series.
Well, they definitely didn't have to dive into their bullpen either. I mean, I think did McCullers go 7 today?
So yeah, the Astros have a fresh bullpen, which is absolutely helpful. And as Scott notes, the Astros out-hit the Rays by 6. The Astros had 10 hits and 2 runs to show for it.
And they only managed to string together enough hits in one inning. And it was too little too late.
And hit ball hard. Yes.
Hit ball hard.
Good.
Good note.
Sum up baseball in 3 words. Hit ball hard.
Hit ball hard.
All right. Well, there you have it. The Rays now have a 2-0 lead as the top seed in the American League. They are 2 wins away from their first World Series appearance since 2008. So now with 2 games under our belts in the ALCS, we will turn to the first game of the National League Championship Series, which is starting in about an hour with the Dodgers taking on the Braves. But that will do it for us here today. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, following along, bringing up some good conversation points and keeping it interesting for us. So yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining in. For Nick Tucker.
Thanks,
and myself,
everybody.
We'll see you next time. All right, dope.
All right.
That was a good one.
Good stuff.
I thought it was.
Yeah, that was good.
I thought it was
I think
shaping
that
up
went
to
well.
last like forever, like the other games I've done, but it started moving more quickly in the late innings.
Yeah, the first 4 innings really dragged there, and then it kind of picked up.
No, we got quite a bit of interaction on that one too. There were.
Yeah, we did. It was a lot of Scott and Peyton, but I'll
19
take it.
visits. I mean, there were different people jumping in at various points.
Good.
So. Yeah.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
You love to see
Absolutely.
it.
All right, I'm gonna go eat dinner.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go work on some food.
Yeah.
All right. Good games.
Thanks for joining me. Yep.
Till next time, Ryan. You too.